What's up everyone, I'm Twisted. A new league season means a brand new variant of the Summoner's Rift map. And so, just like we did with Welcome to Noxus, today we'll be taking a look at the variant of the map that's releasing with Spirit Blossom Beyond. This map is likely teasing what's to come in this new season, including both games, lore and skins, so make sure you watch this video until the end. Also just a disclaimer, but I'm recording this while the map is still on PBE. Just this week they updated it at least twice. By the time it hits the live servers, they might have updated it once again, so keep that in mind. For the Noxian season, Riot decided to sprinkle new details throughout the map, from changing the texture of the alcoves to new props around the mid lane. But now the Spirit Blossom map is mostly just a normal Summoner's Rift, but with a different color palette. And this is because this time around Riot decided to focus on the bases. You can see for example how much more detailed the fountains are compared to the Noxian ones. The normal Summoner's Rift is themed after two factions from the old lore, the Protectorates and the Mage Lords. The Noxian variant was themed after the Triferrics and the Black Rose, and now, by looking at the details from the Ionian variant, we can try to figure out what the factions or teams are. On the blue side we have these trees with purple leaves, while on the red side we have trees with pink leaves. The background of the blue side is a bluish version of the background of the top side, which is a very pink Ionian landscape. So these two sides could be based on the Kennen and the Akali, the spirits from Spirit Blossom. The Kennen are the spirits who found peace in the afterlife, while the Akali are the more chaotic spirits, who obsess over the choices or mistakes they made in their lives. The designs of the fountains and bases in general also reflect this idea. The red side has water flowing in intricate patterns, forming curves and shapes that resemble branches and petals, meanwhile the water on the blue side overflows the base in chaotic streams. But I'm not 100% sure the maps are based on the two types of spirits, as I think the sides of the map could also be based on the material and spirit realms. The material realm is the physical realm where Runeterra is located. The spirit realm, on the other hand, exists parallel to the material realm, almost as a reflection of it. It's from here that spirits and spirit magic come from. The blue side could represent the spirit realm, while the red side could represent the material realm. On the blue side we can see a frog, while on the red side we find a statue. One is an actual being and the other is a statue based on a myth. The blue side has a giant tree, while the red looks more man-made, as much as an Ionian structure can look anyway. On the blue side we can find the purple lanterns we saw in the season cinematic, in the scenes featuring Yunara. And as I explained in my video, these scenes likely take place in the spirit realm. On the other side we can find some similar lanterns, but these are orange and upside down compared to the purple ones, which makes sense considering that the two realms mirror each other, something we also saw in the cinematic. So while I was editing this video, Riot actually removed the orange lanterns from the map for some reason. As we'll see, the statue we can find on the blue side is based on a spirit, while the ones on the red side are based on mortals. I'm not really sure what the theme of the factions is. Could be Kennen versus Akali, could be mortal versus spirit, could be nature versus man, but it's also possible that there is no theme at all and both sides are just based on Spirit Blossom in general. I've mentioned some details about the fountains, but now let's take a closer look at them. At the center of the blue side fountain we can find this face. This was taken directly from concept art of the masks around Yone's waist. These masks are actually lesser demons, as Akali, that Yone managed to seal. I'm not really sure why this is here, but it's important to note that both Yone and the first Spirit Blossom event were developed at the same time. We can also spot some Spirit Blossom symbols right here. Underneath the fountain itself we can find this nice Easter egg left for Necrit. The Yordle shopkeeper and her steed got a brand new look. On her hat we can find this symbol, which is likely teasing something to come. Her steed now has some kind of shrine on top of it. I'm not sure what some of these details represent, they might be teasing something, I don't know. On her table we can find some masks. Now, just like what happened with the masks and props from the Noxian map, I think these are just generic and not actually teasing anything, though this one might be the mask of a fox and thus tied to Spirit Blossom Ari. We can also find what seem to be pieces from a board game. Now, when the Noxian map first came out, this lady had some cards on her table. At the time we didn't know what they were, but eventually we learned that these were teasing the Demon's Hand game. So it's very possible that these pieces right here are also teasing some kind of new game as well. As I said, on this side of the map we can spot these cute frogs, this one right here being the fountain turret. Summoner's Rift is no stranger to frogs, but this design is actually one we've seen before. Back in 2020, when Spirit Blossom was first introduced, we got a brand new map for the game mode Nexus Blitz called the Temple of Lily and Lotus. One of the tips found on the loading screen of the map states that frogs are a venerated symbol in Ionia. Throughout that map were statues of frogs with the same design seen in the new Summoner's Rift. These frog statues are also featured in 2xKO in the Spirit Hills map. All the frogs found on Summoner's Rift now have this design, from the one chilling in the river to the one in the bot lane who jumps off a cliff. So apparently this is no longer a thing, so good for him, I guess.
No jumping.
On the Nexus Blades map, there were also many fox statues. These are based on the myth of the Gatekeeper, which is what Spirit Blossom Ari represents. A statue like this later also appeared in 2xKO, and now we can find one of them as the fountain turret on the red side. Underneath the water we can still spot the old design of the fountain. This shopkeeper and his shop also received a new look. His shop is still a boat, though now a smaller one. He has a furnace in the back and a bunch of goods to sell. In front of him we can spot a lot of food, so let's quickly go over all of it. From left to right we have stuffed grape leaf, onigiri, yakitori, ramen, dumplings, and finally ikayaki. If I got any of these wrong, please do let me know. We can also spot some familiar items, including Heart of Gold. This is an item Wright loves referencing. It was also behind this shop in the normal version of the map. It's in the recall of Pulsefire Ezreal. It even shows up in Arcane and probably in many other places. This right here is the Spear of Shojin, which, as the name implies, is tied to the Shojin order. So, an Ionian item in an Ionian themed map. Makes sense. Next to it is the Duskblade of Draktar. Now, this one might seem out of place to some of you, but in the Ruin King game, we actually get some lore behind this item and its owner. Draktar pioneered the use of shadow magic in assassination through the use of his legendary blade. In the game, it's also hinted that he might have been Ionian, as one note says that the Shadow Warder would have welcomed him if he was alive today, and Ari says that she recalls his name from a memory she stole, so it makes sense for the blade to be here. And next to it, we can spot some generic swords. The red lanterns on top of the shop seem a bit random, but they could be tied to the Blood Moon skins, as there's another reference to them in the map. Or maybe they are just that, red lanterns. The small structures on both bases also received an update. This one on the blue side is a statue based on Spirit Blossom Teemo. We've also seen some of these before, both in Splash Arts and in the Spirit Bounds game. Next to it we can find this little shrine. It has a pear and some incense. These props can also be found throughout the map. On the other side we can find a statue which I assume is based on Shen because of the design of the mask, and next to it we can find a statue based on the Keeper of Masks. This is a character from Legends of Runeterra tied to the Kinko Order, which, as you may know, is led by Shen. If you remember, both Shen and Kennen appeared in the season cinematic, and Kennen is also featured in the art of the upcoming Shin comic. On top of this, if we take a look at the texture files used for the new map, we can find some with Kinko in the name, including the ones used for the purple lanterns. All of this makes it very clear that the Kinko and its champions will have a major role in the lore of this season, and that potentially the new champion, Yunara, is also tied to them somehow. Also, I really hope we get to see the Keeper somewhere this season. They are literally called the Keeper of Masks, it's so fitting for them to be here. I've talked about the water on the bases, but there's also another detail about it I need to mention. Despite the water not being coded as a river for the purposes of runes and Jax's fishing easter egg, Kiana can still get her water element when using her W on it. If you are enjoying this video so far, consider subscribing. It's free and you can always change your mind later. Now let's check out the new structures. The new nexus are some kind of wells or fountains with water flowing from nowhere, not too far from what we saw in the season cinematic. The cores are now these nature-themed orbs which explode when the nexus are destroyed. The inhibitors are also wells, not much to say here. This time around the turrets have different designs for each side. The ones on the blue side are based on Spirit Blossom Morgana, while the ones on the red side are based on Spirit Blossom Ashe. As you may know, Spirit Blossom Ashe was likely going to be a gacha skin, like Spirit Blossom Morgana, so that's likely why these two were chosen to be the turrets of the new map. Oh, and here's the respawn animation of the new turrets. Now let's take a look at other details. For example, we can find 6 different types of masks scattered throughout the map. This one was featured in the cinematic. As we saw, it's tied to Spirit Blossom Irelia. This one seems to be from Blood Moon Akali. It's not exactly one-to-one, but it's close enough. And of course, this one belongs to Jhin. This is interesting because Jin's bio and story might have been the first pieces of lore to ever mention the Spirit Blossom Festival. And I say might because they actually just call it the Blossom Festival. The concept of Spirit Blossom was only created years after those stories came out, so it was likely not their intention at the time for this to be the same festival, but retroactively I think it makes sense now for this to be the case. Alongside these 3 masks, we have another 3 that are more than likely teasing brand new skins as well. Let me know down below which champions you think are getting skins based on these masks. I think this one might be for Kennen, but I'm not sure. With this being said, this one right here could be Blood Moon Aatrox, but I'm not very confident. Now this is a weird mix of teams. Spirit Blossom, Blood Moon, and Jhin. Spirit Blossom makes sense, obviously. Blood Moon is also tied to Ionia, though this was only ever explored in the old lore. Maybe we are getting more Blood Moon lore this season, who knows? As for Jhin, he is quite an infamous serial killer in Ionia, so much so that people even think he might be a real demon. I assume that's why his mask is here, but I won't lie, I think he might be getting one of those Battle Pass chroma skins. Yikes. Anyways, these masks could also be tied to the keeper, but it's too early to say for sure, so for now I think these are just masks people wear at the Spirit Blossom Festival. Moving on, the fire lamps have been replaced by these beautiful Spirit Blossom flowers. We can also find many new flowers throughout the map, both pink and purple, as well as candles. Funny enough, candles were also present in the Noxian map. In the mid lane we can now see the symbol of a Spirit Blossom. I've mentioned the background already, but here in the top alcove is where we get the best view of it. We can see the hills of Ionia, some buildings and some kites we saw in the cinematic. We can find statues of a monkey, a capybara and a wolf or a dragon. I'm not really sure what this third one is. Now this could be teasing skins, little legends or even a brand new game on the client. For now it's impossible to know. What we do know is that there's only one monkey champion in the game, Wukong, and that the capybara statue was also present in the new season cinematic. Honestly, this one could just be a reference to Drew 11, aka Riot just a capybara. I've mentioned pears, but we can also find peaches.
Are those peaches I smell?
Throughout the map we can also find many of these small objects, but I don't know what they represent. Oh, and these lamps as well. With the update to Atakan's forms also came an update to his roses. The team who defeats the demon gains the buff Spiritual Purification, instead of the previous two buffs. When this happens, the bloody petals transform into spirit petals. While this specific name was probably only chosen because of the name of the previous buff, spirit petals were also present in the event from 2020. Also, the buff that you get from defeating Atakan gives you this cool on-kill effect. And now just a quick look at the minions. They are obviously also themed after Spirit Blossom. We can see their textures now make them look more Ionian, we can spot some flowers, and the blue minions have Akana masks. And now, one final detail. Internally, Riot usually uses codenames for their projects and events. Arena was called Cherry, Anima Squad was called Strawberry, the Arcane Bridge was called Crepe, and the Noxian Season was called Boba. As you can see, all of these were food related, but Spirit Blossom is ending this trend as its codename was Bloom. And there you have it. These were all the details I managed to find in the new Spirit Blossom map. If I missed anything, let me know down below, and subscribe if you haven't already. It's free and you can always change your mind later. I'm trying to reach 5k subs this year, so your help would be very much appreciated. I'm Twisted and I'll see you guys in the next one.